What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Now, in today's video, I'm going to give you an update on Sui because its price is doing basically exactly what we spoke about yesterday, and I want to update you on what comes next. And so with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into the video. Now, looking at Sui here, what we can see is that, man, oh man, its price has literally just gone straight up. We, of course, had been talking about the fact that Sui was in a bit of a consolidationary channel, and I thought that we would possibly see a breakout over the next 48 to 72 hours, and that's exactly what we got. Now, I actually want to show you a little bit of this video right here because it just goes to show that we hit the nail on the head with this one, if that makes any sense. So let's go ahead and play this really quickly. Chance that Sui's price does break above for the next 40 upwards. And so because of that, what I would go ahead and say is you need to be watching Sui over the next 48 to 72 hours because there's a very strong chance that Sui's price does break above 236 and try to continue this move to the upside. And I mean, you can see that again. We were sitting right here on that 4-hour chart, right in this little range. Let's go back here. Let's go to this one. Yeah. We were sitting in this little range and, you know, that's exactly what we got. Now, the way in which we obviously kind of had a feeling, obviously you never know something like this is going to happen, right? People always say, well, the reason we knew this was going to happen, you never know something's going to happen. But the reason why I was able to just kind of guess and assume that we were going to see Sui get a breakout of that nature was quite simply because of the structure in which it had created. Of course, we saw that Sui had created this macro little cup and handle pattern right here. We got the breakout of that cup and handle pattern and it started building up that support. And oftentimes when you build support on top of a resistance level and flip it into support, you can use that support to continue upwards. Sui is notorious for that. And obviously knowing that, what we did is we took the distance from the top of the cup to the bottom of the cup and applied that to the top of the cup. And that gives you your breakout target right up towards $3.05 to $3.27, which also aligns with our macro Fibonacci breakout that we spoke about also. And so knowing that we had these breakout targets and we had an RS flip here, we were able to kind of indicate that, well, a breakout could possibly be on the way, and well, here we are. Now, in the meantime, of course, I told you all that I would be doing a little bit of buying if we did see Sui get that breakout. I'm happy to say that I was able to get it on the 3rd hour after the breakout. We had the breakout, the back test, and I bought it right after the back test was successful, and now here we are. This is exactly what we spoke about in the video, exactly what happened. And so, of course, now giving you the context, let's talk about what happens now, okay? Let's talk about what happens now because things are looking pretty damn interesting. I want to kind of give you a more macro outlook of how I'm feeling about this now that this move has happened and what I am expecting next. Now, guys, don't forget, if you do want to trade a little bit of Sui yourself on up to 50x leverage without needing a KYC, without even needing to use a VPN, you can literally just sign up and start trading. You're going to get a bunch of stuff if you do use my BTCC link down in the description below. Guys, you're going to get a 10% deposit bonus on all deposits above 500 USDT, which means that if you deposit $3,000, they're going to give you $300 back for you to start trading and for you to start making moves, which is absolutely ridiculous. You're going to get up to $10,000 in bonuses per user, and you're going to get an SVIP1, which gives you 40% lower trading fees. This is by far the craziest deal I've ever worked out with an exchange. So go check that out down in the description below with my affiliate link that is down there for you. Now, looking at Sui, okay? Again, let's talk about what happens next now that we're all caught up. Well, I do believe that Sui is basically, we're going to go ahead and call it, and we're going to say that Sui has now officially hit our first breakout target on a macro sense. You guys know that I've been telling you all pretty consistently that I thought Sui at some point was going to hit $3.27. It felt like destiny to me. The reason why was, of course, because in a macro sense, we had, of course, our swing high all the way down to our little cycle low down there, this little yearly cycle low. From there, of course, we pushed upwards to the top side. We created some of this bullish structure. We flipped these resistance points into support points. We had this bearish structure here, or this bullish structure, right? This bullish descending channel. We broke above it, continued upwards. And as we started to do that, we broke through this 618 to 786 macro Fibonacci zone, our cycle zone, which is important. Now, when you break a zone like this and you come back and you back test it, you build a foundation on top of this, you take that resistance and flip it into some support, it's very likely for a crypto to then want to push up to its Fibonacci extension zones. Because clearing this zone, the 618 to 786 box, is like a door opener to being able to go into price discovery mode past that previous high that you had. And so the moment that we were able to clear this price again, we knew, hey, these Fibonacci's are going to very likely come into play. This is likely where we're going to look to see Sui's price try to go. And what you can see here is that although we didn't hit it exactly on the head, I mean, this bad boy is very, very close. And it seems to me as if people kind of shortcutted a little bit. That as we got closer and closer, people thought other people were going to start taking profits. And so they started taking profits. And it happens all the time where your price will just barely miss that breakout target because people started selling early, thinking other people were going to sell early, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. And And so obviously speaking, now that we know, the SUI has to some degree gone absolutely parabolic over the last 48 hours, pushing up 33% in just the last 48 hours, the question then becomes, well, does it have any more room to run, right? So let me break it down like this, okay? I think in the long term, SUI has more room to run, and I don't think that it's too late to buy. And I think I need to give you that context because you're not going to like what I'm about to say, okay? So I think in the grand scheme of things, I think SUI can be a crypto that has a 50, 60, 70 billion dollar market cap. I think it has all of the right things to do so. I understand that there can be issues with the token supply. I understand it's inflationary, but we've seen cryptos in the last bull market have the same problem, hit the same number. And so because of that, I don't think it's going to stop it. And if you were here last bull market, you'll remember that, right? We've seen this before. And so considering that, knowing that it could still 8x or 6x or 10x or whatever from here, I still do believe that obviously buying at any given point is a good time to be able to purchase, okay? Let me just lay that out on the table. But whenever we do start to consider what I just spoke about, saying that it just hit its first Fibonacci level, you have to understand that now that it's made this move to the upside, it is getting more risky. Buying a crypto that is in price discovery, reaching Fibonacci extension levels is a risky thing to do. There is no avoiding that. That's just the truth. Just because it can go up further doesn't mean buying it when it's going through an all-time high isn't risky, right? And so because of that, what I would go ahead and say that in the midterm and the short term, considering it just got up towards this level and it just started to reach this level, I definitely don't think it's the best time to buy. It could be an okay time to buy if you can weather the long term, weather through it and go to the long term and be able to sit through a pullback or a correction or whatever it may be. But there are many recorded times in which a crypto will hit a pump like this, hit a macro Fibonacci extension zone, come back down, find some support on top of the previous resistance that it just broke out of, and then use that to continue upwards. And so buying it right below this massive breakout number is probably just not the best idea. I'm not saying it can't continue higher because it absolutely can. We've seen it before. But buying it as it is in price discovery right at breakout levels and liquidity levels is just a risky thing to do. Now, I want you to also mix in the fact that we're getting bearish divergence here on its charts. I will, look at this. High on the RSI, we're currently at a lower high. When you put that in a comparison, we had high, higher high. There's clear divergence there, and it just means that as its price is pushing upwards, it is losing some sort of macro momentum. Now, I will say that it is good that on the shorter time frames from this high to this high, we are setting the new higher high, so we are to some degree resetting this, but you can't ignore that macro bearish divergence. When you look at something like the RSI, let's clear everything off except for the Bollinger Bands. And when you look at the Bollinger Bands, you can see just how extended SUI is right now. It broke outside of the Bollinger Bands, and historically, anytime this happens, SUI will cool down. The last time it happened, we pulled back. The time before that, we trickled upwards, which was fantastic before that little pullback. But this was a great example of the fact that it doesn't have to crash. It doesn't have to go down, but it's going to likely have to cool down at some point. It's going to have to slow down, whether it looks like this, whether it looks like that, or whether it looks like this. It's very likely at some point soon we will see SUI start to cool down and consolidate and allow those indicators to reset. You look even further back before that, right here, boom, the moment we got outside of it, we pulled back to the downside. You go back even further to the downside, outside of it to the downside, outside of it to the downside. It's just what SUI does. And so knowing that our RSI is showing us signs of bearish divergence, knowing that SUI's price is actually breaking outside of its Bollinger Bands at the same time that it's reaching a macro resistance zone, I can't justify saying this isn't a risky time to buy, because quite frankly it is. And I know some of you won't like that, but it's just the truth. And so because of that, my general thought process here is that I still will continue to do some DCAs on SUI, right? I'll buy a little bit here and there just to do it. If we do see on the shorter time frames, like on the hourly or something like that, that we get SUI's price kind of pulling back, maybe a little bit more consolidation from here, I'll continue to dollar cost average because I'm not happy with the size of the bag that I have of SUI. I'm up a good bit and that's cool, but in terms of my overall portfolio allocation, I'm not happy with it. It makes up around 2% of my total portfolio. I'd like to get that up closer to 5%, and so I will continue to buy it even through the pump because I do think, again, still it has 6 to 10x potential. And so from there, of course, that's all I'm going to be doing right now. I'm not doing any big trades. I'm not doing any big long leverage trades or big purchases right now because, again, I bought some, as before the breakout happened. I bought some as we were forming the bottom side of this bullish structure right here and right here. And so I cannot justify buying it now that it has broken out and is hitting these breakout targets. And so because of that, those are my general thoughts. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you agree or do you disagree? What do you think about the long term and much more? Let me know your general SUI thoughts down there. While you are down there, don't forget to go check out that BTCC link if you do want access to an immediate 10% return, which is absolutely insane. Please don't miss out on that, guys. That's such a damn good deal. And it worked. We had to work real hard to get that. So feel free to go check that out down in the description below. And I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.